Hey, welcome! Today we are diving into a really cool ancient concept that gives us a surprisingly simple formula for freedom. It's called virāga, which translates to the path of fading away. So what on earth does that actually mean? Let's get into it. So, everything we're going to talk about today really boils down to this one profound sentence from the ancient Pali texts. Virāgakathā, vimutti phalam. Dispassion is the path. Liberation is the fruit. Now, it sounds almost like a mathematical formula, right? But what does this ancient recipe for inner peace actually mean for us?
Okay, here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with this whole idea of a path and its fruit. Then we'll dig into what dispassion, or virāga, really is. We'll look at the actual mechanism of letting go, define what liberation, or vimutti, feels like, and finally, see how these two are connected by an unbreakable bond.
Right, so this isn't just some nice-sounding poetic phrase. It's actually describing a dynamic process, a real cause and effect relationship happening in your mind. And to get the whole formula, we first have to understand its parts, starting, of course, with the path itself.
So let's zoom in on that first piece of the puzzle, the path. The Pali word here is virāga. Now, when you and I hear a word like dispassion, we might think of, being cold or distant or just not caring. But that's not what this means at all.
The term virāga is actually way more beautiful and nuanced than that. A better, more active translation is fading away. I want you to picture the color slowly fading from an old piece of cloth, or maybe smoke just gently dissipating into the air. See? It's not about forcefully pushing things away. It's a natural, gentle release of the very things that cause us stress.
And what's really fascinating is how the source material breaks down virāga. It says it's two things at once. First, it's the ultimate goal, nirvana, the final fading away of all suffering. But here's the cool part. It's also the path you walk to get there. Every single mindful action, every wholesome thought, that's also virāga. So the path and the destination are made of the exact same stuff.
Okay, so if virāga is this gentle process of fading away, how do we actually do it? Well, the text is super clear on this. The practical, step-by-step tool for making this happen is the Noble Eightfold Path. It's the user manual for cultivating this release.
And here's the core mechanic, the principle of replacement. It's so simple and elegant. The texts say that when you actively cultivate right view, or samaditthi, the opposite state, wrong view, or micchaditthi, just naturally fades away. You don't have to fight it. It's literally like turning on a light in a dark room. The darkness doesn't put up a fight. It just vanishes.
And this isn't some one-off trick. It's a repeatable pattern. The source shows us this works for every single factor of the path. When you develop right intention, wrong intention just fades. You cultivate right speech, and wrong speech withers on the vine. It's this systematic process of replacing the unhelpful stuff with the helpful stuff.
The text even maps out how this whole process deepens over time, through what it calls 4 stages of awakening. At each step, you're targeting deeper and more subtle things to let go of. You start with wrong views, then you move on to things like sensual desire, and it all culminates in the fading away of the absolute deepest roots of suffering when you reach arahantship.
Okay, so we've walked the path of virāga. Now let's talk about the payoff. What is this fruit it produces? What exactly is this liberation, this vimukti, that comes from all this fading away?
Vimutti means liberation or release. And this is so important. This is not some prize you get at the very end of a long, hard road. No way. It is the direct, immediate, in-the-moment freedom that happens as a natural result of letting go. Think about it. The very instant a bird is let out of a cage, it feels the freedom of flight. Vimutti is just like that. It's instantaneous. And check this out. We see that perfect parallel again. The texts tell us that vimutti, just like virāga, also has 2 sides. It is the ultimate liberation of nibbana, for sure, but it's also the quality of your mind in any given moment that is aimed at nibbana. A mind that is right then and there, totally liberated and free. The path and the fruit really are perfect reflections of each other.
So this brings us to the most crucial point of this whole thing. We have to stop seeing these as 2 separate events, where you do the path for a long, long time, and then, maybe, you get the fruit. They are way more intertwined than that.
The path is the result. They are 2 sides of the very same coin, happening in the very same moment. The act of letting a wrong view fade away, that's virāga, is the simultaneous lived experience of being free from that wrong view. That's vimutti. One doesn't cause the other to happen later on. They are one single unified event.
And just to show you how fundamental this idea is, the source material applies this same dynamic, this same path/fruit engine to almost everything. It's the principle behind the factors of enlightenment, the spiritual powers, the spiritual faculties, the foundations of mindfulness, you name it. It's like a fundamental law of how the mind sets itself free.
And that brings us right back to where we started, but hopefully now with a much deeper appreciation for what it means. Evam virago maggo vimutti phalanti. Thus, the fading away is the path, and the release is the fruit. It's not a destination we're trying to get to, but a way of traveling where every single step on the path is itself the arrival.
So the big takeaway here is that freedom isn't something you have to go out and aggressively grab. It's the natural result of gently letting go. Which leaves us all with a really practical question to think about. If liberation is the fruit of letting go, what is just one thing, a small worry, a lingering resentment, a nagging craving, that you could allow to gently begin to fade away starting today?